Welcome everyone to Bonifabcustom. Today's an exciting day because we're going to be finishing off our rebar table by pouring the epoxy that's going to make up 90% of the tabletop. Now we have Troy here that's going to be pouring it for us today, and just a little background about the epoxy. We've never done any epoxy to that level before, and as we found out, a lot of people haven't done epoxy that size, that thickness, all in one shot. So we had to do a little bit of experimenting with this process. Now basically it's going to be 1.5 inches thick of epoxy, about 30 gallons of epoxy resin, and we're going to be putting some rebar, colored rebar, inside the tabletop, and Troy will explain a little bit more about that as we start going through the process of that. Let's get right into doing the tabletop. Yeah, Troy, tell me.
Well, here we are in a full-on experiment because this is the artist proof, the artist prototype, and anyways, we're figuring all the things that we should do for next time.
Yeah, there you go.
And here we've got all these different color pieces of rebar cut at different lengths. Almost like sprinkles, kind of like on a cake, but here we're pouring the epoxy. We did a base coat of 1/4 inch, and now we are getting ready to place the cut chunks of colored rebar on top, which is going to be encased in another 1.25 inch thick of material. So basically the rebar is 1 inch. We have 1/4 inch of clear resin on the bottom and 1/4 inch of clear resin on top of the rebar, so they will be floating hopefully in midair. But again, this is all kind of an experiment, so we'll find out if it's worth anything in the end. But anyways, we're just heating up the water bath right now to get the resin like really liquidy, so when we pour it, it like releases the air bubbles super easy. So anyways,
was there like an inspiration to using, like especially the top, with using this rebar? Like,
well, rebar is the first collection I ever did with furniture, so I've kind of continued on it because people have always been interested in it, and it sells well. And you know, I needed a new dining table, so I figured, you know, might as well build a piece of furniture for myself and you know, find out if it works, and then
nice,
we'll bring it to market. But you know, the table base is black, so I wanted to kind of not make it disappear, but since all the other colored pieces are so vibrant, I wanted to like make that part stand out a little bit, and you know, bend the rebar into form so it's a little more complicated than just, you know, a straight line or anything like that, obviously, which makes it much more difficult. But you know, here we're just laid another 1/4 inch layer of resin so that when we lay our bars inside, it will you know, not rock the bars back and forth. And you know, we'll place the bars next, and then we will bring the resin up to the height of 1.5 inches total, and then we'll let it cure for, you know, 5-6 days, and we'll find out what we got after it's done.
thanks, Troy.
Yeah. Blue's a beautiful color too, actually. Just starting with all the big chunks first, the larger sizes. They're all different sizes, so they go from bigger to smaller. So just trying to get a feeling of, you know, space, and you know, have a good balance of color and size. Might have to move a few back and forth here once in a while, but we'll see.
It's getting there.
It looks so amazing, man.
Wow.
Look how cool it looks. I mean, if we can pull this off, it's really going to be quite dramatic. Just trying to find a good balance of all the pieces and the colors right now. Just slightly tinkering as we're going along. Just and they're sliding around nice and perfectly. Just kind of almost like painting, you know? Just feeling the flow.
Is that all the pieces?
That's all the pieces. That's
Nice.
35 pieces. And it feels right. It feels like the right balance. I feel like there's, you know, just enough pieces to you know, have a little breathing room around each color, and it really, I almost want to just leave it like this, have them maybe floating on the underside of the table exposed, but you know, we'll go all the way this time, and we'll it has that kind of, you know, pop culture somewhat, little bit of humor, you know, sprinkles, you know, a little bit of this, a little bit of that, but you know, I think it's good when you look at a work and you're like, I have never seen this before. And that's what I try to do when I do my works is, you know, I think of things like, you know, here we have a very common material like rebar, but like, of course, no one's ever seen sprinkled rebar in their entire lives, you know, like it'd be fun almost to have this in the entranceway or of a major, you know, tower, you know, that's filled with rebar, because every day you're walking by, you know, millions of tons of rebar in the downtown core of Toronto or wherever you are, and you just never see it. So here we have it on full display. So it's kind of exciting. It feels good. I feel like the balance is right, and I can't wait to see the final.
Okay, so we got a second pour other than the one on top. So.
I think I'm going to try to come from this way. So.
Yeah, just try and keep that pail on there so it doesn't spill everywhere on the outside.
The good news is the rebar didn't budge, not even an inch. Stayed right in place.
All right. Okay, so this is how many pours now? This is the third?
This is the third pour of the second pour.
And I guess we're going to stick with putting in, torching it between each pour. Seems to be a good
I think
idea.
it seems to be safe.
Yep.
Here we are doing our fourth pour. I'm gonna pour it right at the edge here. Trying to get zero contaminants. Even the dust in the air wants to stick to it like a magnet. Like warm honey.
Number 4 down.
Just like glass. Wow. It's got a really interesting looking effect. Beautiful. Pour number 6. Final pour.
This should bring it to about 1.5 inches, 1.5 5/8, I think.
Yeah, give or take a few sixteenths. And we will have a 250-pound tabletop.
So Troy's doing some epoxy surgery. You get paid extra for that? Did you have to go to school for that, Troy?
7 years epoxy medical. There we go. Getting out every blast. What is this? Am I seeing? Oh, that's. Okay, so we'll do our final blowtorch here. Take this glove off.
Okay, 1 second. So as Troy mentioned already, we're going to leave this poured epoxy tabletop for about a week. We're going to come back and then we'll take it out of the mold. So we're going to attempt to take the epoxy apart. Spencer's going to help me. Spencer, say hi.
Hi.
And we're going to see what happens. Now that the tabletop is cured and we have it demolded, now it's time to do the finishing touches, and we're going to be taking the tabletop and Troy's going to pick it up and he's going to be doing some polishing at his shop. So the next video we're going to have is we're going to do a little segment at Troy's shop and the process that's going to happen in polishing and making this tabletop crystal clear. Thanks again for watching. Don't forget to subscribe and push that button for notifications for the next video of this rebar table project. Thank you very much.